All right, cool. We are live. So if you are joining us, this is kind of just an impromptu session. Jordan and I, if you didn't catch it last weekend, we did Google EDU on air. And we kind of looked over some different programs and talked about scripts and some different things. And it was pretty good. I think we had about, 70 people viewing?
Yeah, I got up there, and the video itself has like 500 views now. So some people have checked it out.
That's great. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. It was kind of good. It was like what we normally do every week. So
yeah, exactly.
Wasn't very stressful and just had a good time. And it's 4:30 in the morning my time, so that was a little crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely went to sleep.
Thanks again for doing that, man. That's
oh yeah. No, that's
sometimes
that's our deal, man.
Right on.
All right. So today we are hoping to go and do some work on my badging template. For those of you who don't know, I've really been working on this a lot, trying to use Google Sheets to build a badging system. And it's been a lot of fun writing code and building formulas. I think, though, what we were talking about is, so right now, the way that badges are displayed are there's a sheet. Well, let me share my screen and I can kind of roll through all this. All right, so that's my other one. So if you take a look, you can see that the badge sheet, how it works is kids basically have the opportunity to earn badges, and then when they're earning a badge over here, they'll type in a badge code, and then the badge kind of like preview and description and evidence and everything pops up over here. And then down here, there's a tab called display case, and the display case actually displays all the badges, it actually looks really nice. The way that so Jordan, kind of the way that this works is there's a tab down here that's kind of hidden called badge holder. And so basically whenever kids earn a badge, this is a sort, and it kind of sorts the badges here. And then I use in the display case, I actually use a transpose formula that just transposes that list, and it will go, you can see that it goes A1 through A5.
Right.
So it does 5 badges here, and then below it is a similar transpose, but it just does the next column.
Okay.
The B column instead of the column, because that's where the work evidence is. So one thing that's really important is, like, as kids earn badges, they really have to like show their evidence for how they earn that badge. So it could be a link to a Google Doc or a presentation or a video or a website or anything that they feel like shows that they have earned the badge. So anyway, the display case is pretty cool. We like it because you can like embed it on a website. You can embed the sheet on a website, like if kids are trying to show it off. And so it's not really like a necessity, but I thought maybe it would be fun, if we just played around to see what we could, what we could do to maybe display this in a different way, and if it's even worth it. But I don't know, just a fun little project for us to mess with.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe put just an example badge in there, just so the process of creating a badge. And,
yeah, let me see if there's any already. I don't know if there's any already built in. Let me go to
any little demo ones.
Let me get so normally, and I'm not gonna. Well, actually, let me just do. Oh, I don't know which one it is. I think it's this one. I'm just gonna connect this sheet to another one. So part of the process is the kid template has to be connected to a teacher template. Right. So I'll go ahead and connect it to We got a lot. Let me connect it to the. So here's our school teacher template. So if I connect to this sheet, it should update with some badges. Which it did.
Sure, there we go. Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. So it's just loading really quick, so this will just take a second. But these are just some badges that some of my other teachers have already created.
Oh yeah, I see that, and I like it. I like that you're using that that image formula in the sheet to kind of give you a little preview in there. That's
interesting.
Cool.
The reason why this is probably errored, Jordan, by the way, why it's saying cannot get method, get range of null, is because the school template, the teacher template, down here in the bottom tabs, see where it says culture?
Yeah.
We call it Lobos because that's our mascot. So whenever when it got to that tab, it errored probably. But that's okay. We were able to get at least some badges. So as you can see, these sheets are normally hidden for the kids, so they can't see them. But we can take this code. So basically, like the kid would come in and put that code in. You can see then the badge shows up, and it says what the requirements were. And so, then the evidence would just be a link to their website or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, or their evidence. And then if you go to the display case, right, the badge shows up with the evidence underneath it. And let's see, I have a technology badge. This badge into. So there's a couple things that happen, right? Like first are that you can see your learning earning experience points. And so up here I have a little repetition formula that just repeats this character. And your XP level will grow based on a formula until you're like kind of master bit. So you can see that the display case actually looks pretty nice. Like it displays them. Like I think it looks good.
Yeah.
And then like if that's on a website, like they can click on the links and stuff. So anyway, like again, it's not a priority, but it might be something worth messing with just to see if we could display it a little prettier. I don't know.
Yeah, just put it into HTML code and you think should it be something that opens up in another tab? Should it be something that opens up in like a modal window inside the sheet? Like some kind of maybe like a link that they could share with other people, or would it just be for them?
We have portfolios, so yeah, I mean everyone. It would need to be public, right? Like, so it's going to go on their website, and they need to all be able to see it, right? Like, so whatever we make needs to kind of be embeddable to their portfolio. Like, it needs to show up as a page in their portfolio, and then everybody who accesses their portfolio needs to have kind of permission to see it.
Okay. So kind of like what you said, what you're doing now is they just embed this sheet into their portfolios, and then they can.
Right, like we'll go in and you do like the publish to web, right?
Yeah.
And you can get embed code for the display case.
Okay, yeah.
And then they're just taking this code here, which is pretty easy. I mean, it's easy.
Yeah, that's super easy. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, we could definitely do like a modal window thing. No, I don't think anything we're going to come up with is going to be easier than putting that in.
The other thing though I was thinking about, because I don't know if like this is necessarily like priority. So one thing that we had talked about is like the codes, for badges.
Yeah.
if there was a way to kind of randomize the codes, if there was a way so that the codes weren't always the same for each badge, something like that. So that one was kind of beyond me a little bit. And then the other thing we had talked about,
we can write that one really simply. The randomizer for the codes. Yeah, we can do that.
Because I think so there's a couple things, right, that happen with it's probably should share some of the script editor with everybody, but basically, one of the things that happens is it connects to like a teacher sheet, right? Like, so there's a teacher template because we don't want kids to have access to it. Mm-hmm. And so in the script editor, and you help me do this, right? There's a sheet that has the ID on it. So when you use the picker, right, it writes the ID to a blank sheet in the kid template. And then that's how it basically syncs, all the codes. And so I wouldn't know necessarily how to get rid of that because the codes are generated by the teacher, right? So the teacher needs to be able to know, like, how the code is given to, like, the teacher needs a way. There has to be some process for like how the kid gets the code, right? Like either the teacher has to tell them, or there needs to be like some sort of generator where, like, if I submit for a badge, like, it generates an email and sends me whatever the random code is, but then the sheet needs to know that that's an acceptable code. Does that make sense? So there's kind of like a few steps that I'm a little worried about trying to get through.
Those things.
Yeah.
Where it's like they work, but you think there might be like a best practice out there that we're missing.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, I feel like a lot of things are working pretty well, but I don't know. Those are some random ideas that I had to. Or even maybe something that's a little easier that's something that's really been bugging me is, so like initially when my add-on is run, it creates all the sheets, and you've seen that run before. But one of the things that I have it do is I have it hide the sheets. And I showed you how I kind of use this like if else statements to like count and copy the names and then hide the sheets.
Okay.
I'm wondering if there's a better way to hide those sheets. Like, I think something that would be cool is, like, not only could you hide them, but could you, like, format the text to turn all white, because if it was white, then you wouldn't necessarily be able to see it. Because technically, like a kid, anytime a kid could get on. And, like, if they were smart enough, they could go find all the hidden sheets and like look up all the codes.
I gotcha for putting in every badge.
Right, because the sheet has to have the badge codes in it somewhere to know where to look up.
Yeah. Let me open up this.
Yeah, you can go ahead. Another thing that I'm still not able to open my toolbox thing. The Hangout toolbox is not working.
On
I get that whatever 401 error something. I can also tell.
It's open for me. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't used Hangouts enough to.
Also, this has been pending forever.
I have one out there pending. It's a Google Apps Marketplace pending. I mean, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Definitely takes some some time to go through everything. But here we can write a couple of things pretty quickly here.
All right, I'm gonna stop. I'll stop sharing my screen, and I'll.
Okay, I'll share mine then.
Let you get started.
Okay.
Someone's standing outside my door, so I'll be right back.
Okay. And I'm gonna go through the steps, and then I'll start typing it up, and then I'll go through it with you once you come back. There's a way to get the letters without typing them. Whoops. F, G, H. And then let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've got 2 arrays, and I'm going to decide, let's say, the 7 7-digit little code generator. So I'm going to start getting some loop through the right code length plus. Then I'm going to the code, and it's going to be an empty string. Have that random, and I want it to be 0 to 9. So let's see. Actually, I don't know why. Okay, let me just delete that. Okay. Random times 9, I think. I think you random times 9, and I want to floor it, which means it rounds down automatically, so that way we get a number 0 to 9. I'm pretty sure that will work correctly.
That's
so
cool.
Then I'm going to say code. So let's say we want it to be either a letter or a number.
Yeah.
I need a, and I want to randomly have it be, okay, so letter, I'm going to call it letter or number. If it's 0, it'll be a letter. If it's 1, it'll be a number.
Okay.
And so here I'm going to do math.floor again. I'm going to do math.random, and I'm going to times it by 2. Is that right? No, actually, I don't even need to do that. I just need the floor. Is that right? No. Math.round. Yeah. Okay, I think math.round will. So if it's okay, so basically, have you ever used math.random before?
I mean, I've read about it. I haven't used it myself, but yes.
So what it does is it gives you a random number between 0 and 1, right?
Oh,
so
cool.
Like if you don't do anything with it, you'll have 0.12378. Like it's just a crazy float number.
Sure.
So if you round it, I think if you get 0.5, it'll round up, and anything less than that, it'll round down.
Okay.
So let's say if letter, or I'm going to call this LON.
Okay.
And we'll say if LON equals 0, and we want to do code plus equals to letters rand. Okay, and then else, we're going to do code plus or equal to letter, no, just rand. And once it's done with this loop, we're going to log code. And let's see what that does for us. I think that should give us a, okay, it's asking me for permissions for all the various other things that are inside of
good.
Inside of here. So let's see. 5B6E, undefined. Undefined.
Well, started to give you something.
Yeah, so the two undefineds.
So you're doing
the two undefineds, I'm not totally sure what. Let's see. Log. I think it might have something to do with my rand might be. Oh, I know why. So this is only, my letters is only A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, you know. I shouldn't be doing letters rand. I should be doing so I need rand number, and then I need a random letter, because that's not, that array isn't long enough.
Right.
Times letters you know, theoretically it should have and letters. Okay, B82DH18. And I saw, actually, now that I think about it, you had all of uppercase letters in yours.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter, but whatever.
So there we've got a, you know, kind of the beginnings of a little code generator.
Yeah,
I don't
cool.
know any other way to do the letters without having to type an array of letters like this. You know, I don't, but you know, really it's only 20 H I J K L M N. Whoa. You know, so it should automatically pick up those letters as you add things to it. Yeah. So this doesn't protect against duplicate codes. However,
Sure.
I think it's pretty rare. What you could also do, what you could also do is we have this check against. So if you had like you would have to get a list of all of your codes. You would have to get a list of all of your codes somehow, you know, because don't they come from all teacher?
Yeah.
Well, so you would figure out how to get somehow pull all of them together, maybe concatenating them, concatenating a bunch of arrays together. Yeah. And then before you did this, before you returned the code, you would check and say all codes and there's a function called index of. An index of you can put in, so then you could put in that code, and it'll tell you in that array whether or not it's in that array or not.
Okay.
And it'll give you, so it'll give you, if it is in the array, it'll give you an index. But if it's not, it'll give you, it'll be equal to -1. And so in here you would have to do something. And so that's kind of the beginnings of a little code generator for you.
That's cool.
I don't think you need to do much really. If you're super worried about unique codes, you know, you would have to add that. You would have to add these things to the top and bottom, but other than that, I think I think that's pretty good to go.
Cool. I like that.
And you know, you just use this like a custom function, you know, in the sheet itself. And it should. Oh, I didn't return anything. I'm gonna comment that out. But now you've got a code out here in the sheet. You can just type code generator. Okay, what was the? I'm gonna put. I'm gonna just put this code on you can play with that in the actual sheet later if you want. We'll call this code generator.js. Yeah, there's that little snippet for you.
Cool. Thanks, man.
What was the next thing? There was something else that you said. Play around with.
Oh, I think the next thing would be, so like, it would be really cool if the code changed. Like, I don't know, I guess it would be cool if the code was randomly generated. So like, okay, yeah, you get the code, but like, and say you and I are both kids. How do you and I both basically go in and say, all right, your code is unique and my code is unique, but we're getting the same badge. You know what I mean?
So you mean right here? Am I still sharing my screen? I think I'm gonna just click it off. So in your sheets, right? So this code, you mean? Where you're putting in this badge code like this?
Right.
But isn't there one code for the badge and all the students use the same code?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would be how could that change or be unique to each sheet? How could that be generated, but that each sheet would recognize that code would still work?
Well, doesn't that come from the like it's pulling all of these codes?
Yeah, from the teacher template.
From the teacher template,
Yeah.
Somewhere out here, I think you would have to put that on the teacher side, like in that in the teacher spreadsheet where they're putting in their codes.
Right.
Because
no,
then when
I think so.
when it updates the sheet, like it's gonna, you know, every kid that opens the spreadsheet is gonna have list here in whatever the badge directory sheet, right? Every kid's is gonna be exactly the same in
Right.
badge directory, right?
Right.
And then it's just a matter of them. I wonder if I can.
It's pretty complicated. Like I kind of have written out some like, I don't know, sketches of like what the process would need to be, I think. And because there's a couple things that I would like to happen, right? Like one would be that you basically use a Google form to submit for your badge. And when the form gets your response, it generates the badge code upon like the submit, and then somehow gets that code back into your sheet, I guess.
But the teacher side is where it needs to generate the code, right?
Right.
I thought it worked. Yeah, so I'd have to see how the teacher copy looks, because it's a pretty similar thing, except it's just,
it looks exactly like this almost.
Right. Except the teachers can go into.
Click on the technology. Yeah. So see, this is what the teacher looks like. It looks just like this.
Mm-hmm. And so if the teacher is adding a new.
I did a new badge. It just syncs.
Yeah. I'm thinking. Yeah, you could put. So you would just make this column something. Shoot, I keep thinking I have a solution or a suggestion, but.
Well,
could you do it? In the add-on menu, you kind of give it a you put a function up there, so when a teacher is wants to add a new badge to their sheet, right. And this would be, you know, a function that's only available in the teacher copy of right. the sheet, and it would just be add badge. Right, and then that can open up a little dialog window for them, and it generates a code automatically in there. It lets them put in the various information right in the, like maybe it's a modal window or something.
So that's actually a really cool idea. I wonder. Oh, maybe what we could do. Okay, so now you got me thinking. So what if to earn a badge? Okay. Just bear with me 1 second. I don't know how this would work. Yeah. Is there a way that instead of the kid template holding the badge codes, right? Because that's what basically happens right now. So here, let me share my screen. So check this out. So if so what happens right now is basically there's, I run index matched formulas, right? So basically it does an index and then matches the code, and when the code matches, then it generates all the data. I'm wondering is there a way to create some sort of dialogue, like a modal dialogue, that would allow the kid to basically say, like, okay, I want to earn, this math badge. And so I select the badge that I want to earn. And it's checking basically the modal dialogue somehow is checking the teacher template. And so it says, I want to earn the math badge for math discussion. And then they enter their evidence and you click submit. And then it goes out and gets it verifies the code against the teacher sheet, not in the kid sheet, but against the teacher sheet. And if they match, then it would return all the data. Like it would return that badge, but that data is not necessarily stored in the kid template. It's still all on the teacher template.
So yes, there is a way to do that. And so, okay, so as you described that, it sounds very much like what they call a RESTful API.
Okay.
So I'm gonna, you got about 10 minutes, and I'm just gonna kind of demo.
Yeah, I got 10 minutes.
What this is.
All right.
So I'm gonna just create two sheets here, and I didn't need to delete it immediately. Yeah, I'm gonna do 2 sheets. Well, I'll start with this one, and I'm gonna call it temp teacher sheet. And this could actually be, so this could be something that you tied to a form maybe. So if you had a bunch of teachers all submitting badges, maybe you could do this with a form. I don't know, but let's just say, this is going to be the code. Create code, and then, I don't know, badge name, badge length, badge subject, badge points. We'll call it great portfolio, HTTP something, for math, and it's worth 10 points. So you can create kind of simple APIs in the script editor by publishing it as a web app, and then creating a do get function, or maybe even it's not going to take any parameters, though you can have it take in parameters, and you could make specific requests.
Right.
So what this is going to return is actually called content service, and you're going to create text output, and in here we're going to put this variable, and actually I'll just call it I don't know, we'll call it badges, and then I'm going to set MIME type, and I want to do content service MIME type JSON. That'll work. Now in here is going to be badges. This thing that I'm sending out is going to be an array of all of the and I'm going to show you what this looks like here. Now I'm going to publish it as a web app. I just want myself right now. And in this URL, when I go to this URL that I just shared, it should give me, and you know what that is? No, the dev copy. So the reason for that is because I have to json.stringify. And then, so what it's doing here, in theory, if it saves, is it's sending back this data object, right? With no HTML, no formatting or anything. It is just the data.
Right.
And so let's say instead of me, hard coding this data in there, if I do var.badges equals spreadsheet app open by ID, and I'm gonna put that ID in the sheet later, and then I'm going to get data range and get values, and the ID for the sheet. This. Now, here you're going to see that little bit of code. Now it wants more permissions for my spreadsheet. So what you're going to see here is that data from the sheet that I typed. Okay.
Right.
And now this is really unformatted. Like we would probably change. We would change it around. We would change it around a lot in this doGet function to be able to send it back in the right way. But then, so let's say that, so this is this temp teacher sheet, but in the kid template, in the script editor, here, give it a second for it to, because so it's running a bunch of functions, right, as it loads.
Right.
Yeah, so you could actually, because if you built this out, well, I'll just go into the script editor. You would actually be able to skip that step of reloading because it's going to just pull the data. And I'll show you. I'm going to just create a new script file. And then in here, we're going to run URL fetch app. Then we're going to fetch that, this URL right here. And just copy and paste that into there. Then say, let's see what happens when you just run this. Going to ask connect an external service. Function, it's getting the data from that sheet. It's going to save it in response. And then, in theory, we're going to be able to look at it. It's normally a lot faster than this. I can close all that temp teacher stuff. Thanks. Preparing for execution. Okay, I'm going to actually do something here. Control copy. I don't know why it's going so slowly here, but I started a new project just so it wouldn't be running everything at the same time here. Okay, so it's giving me a big HTML response. I don't want all of that. I need to get content text. Let's see what happens. No. I'm going to check the. Oh, maybe, you know what? Let's take the token. Oh, it's because of the response there. Okay, I'm going to check the documentation. There's a whole section here about content service. And creating, maybe it's in the guides. Let me see. Store and serve data, content service. And for RSS feeds, so I want to serve JSON from the scripts, create text output. Is that how I did it in the other? I may have. JSON stringify the result, set MIME type JSON. That's perfect. And then yeah, we should be able to. Let's see how I did this. I possibly messed it up here.
That's all right.
But do you, I'm not even sure if what I'm trying to do is becoming clear. Like sending the data from one sheet to the other without only making a request when you actually need the request. You can even break it down to only, you know, send maybe only send the math badges or yeah, and then oh, I see why. Ha ha ha. I published it as okay. So when you publish this, you have to destroy it, publish it as anonymous. Anyone can access, even anonymous. So now,
excuse me.
Let's see what it shows for response. All right, it's for some reason not liking this.
Well, hey, dude, why don't you think about it some more? I gotta run. I gotta go do some coaching. But dude, I really like where you're going with this. I think because I think if that would be really interesting, right? If you didn't even have to. Well, I think a Google form would be really easy on the teacher side, like to create your badge. But I'm thinking like for the kid, it would be really interesting if they could get badge codes without like
all of those steps.
Well,
let me come up with
without all the copying, So anyway, we can look at it.
Yeah, I'm going to play around with this content service and kind of this creating this kind of REST API here.
Yeah, for sure.
And see if that's a solution.
All right, man.
Cool. All right, have fun there coaching.
Yeah, and I think thanks to we had no viewers, but that's okay. Maybe someone will watch it later.
Yeah, where it's all on the spot.
Yeah, no, that was fun though. I think think we're onto some cool stuff. So let's check it out later. All right?
Yeah. It's good
All
just
right,
for getting the brainstorming. Cheers, man.
All right. Take it easy, Jordan.
You too.